Picture this. You're out at a weekend barbecue, meeting friends and their families. You feel relaxed, confident, until you catch a look that says something's off. And often, it's not what you're saying. It's your polo. I've spent 15 years helping men over 40 avoid style mistakes that quietly cost them respect, opportunities, and even connection. Today, I'll show you the 3 polo errors that instantly age you, and worse, quietly cost you the respect you've already earned. Fit that works after 40. The polo was never meant to be sloppy. René Lacoste designed it in the 1920s as refined sportswear for gentlemen, tennis champions, and polo players. They wore it with pressed trousers, not baggy jeans. So when you wear it loose and wrinkled today, you're actually going against the DNA of the garment itself. Let's start with the mistake that's aging 90% of men over 40, wearing the wrong fit. And I'm not talking about going up or down a size. I'm talking about understanding how a polo should sit on your body when you're walking into important meetings, not weekend barbecues. Here's the reality check. Those loose, boxy polos you've been wearing, they're aging you. I don't care if they're comfortable. They're sending the wrong message. When fabric hangs loose around your torso, it creates visual weight that makes you look heavier and less decisive. But here's where most guys overcorrect. They go skin tight, thinking it makes them look younger. It doesn't. It makes you look like you're trying too hard. And at 40 plus, trying too hard is worse than not trying at all. So what actually works? The shoulders are your foundation. The seam should hit exactly where your shoulder ends, not hanging off, not pulling tight across your back. Get this wrong, and nothing else matters. The body should follow your natural shape without clinging. Think about it this way. When you're presenting to clients or networking at industry events, you want your polo to give you structure, not restrict your movement or show every imperfection. Length is critical, and most guys get this wrong. Your polo should hit just below your belt line, not covering your back pockets. That looks sloppy. Not riding up when you raise your arms. That looks cheap. Sleeves should end around mid-bicep. This proportion works whether you're wearing the polo alone or layering it under a blazer. When you get this fit right, something interesting happens. You naturally stand straighter, move with more confidence. That's not psychology. That's what happens when your clothes work for you instead of against you. Think of the difference between a tailored blazer and a windbreaker. One sharpens your silhouette, the other swallows you completely. Same principle applies here. Once you've nailed the fit, the next step is what really separates the average guy from the sharp one: fabric and color. Fabric and color secrets. When polo shirts first took off in the mid-20th century, they weren't made from the flimsy stuff you see in bargain bins today. They were heavyweight cotton, built to hold their shape on the tennis court or golf course. That's why a quality peak still feels instantly different in your hands. It's carrying on that heritage. Now here's where you can instantly separate yourself from 80% of men your age, choosing the right fabric and colors. Let me tell you about James, a 47-year-old construction company owner who came to me frustrated. "I'm making the same money as these architects and developers I meet with," he told me. "I know my business inside and out. But somehow, I always feel like I'm fighting for credibility from the moment I walk in." The problem wasn't James's expertise or his confidence. It was his polo shirts, specifically how he was wearing them. The difference between a crisp, heavyweight peak polo and a flimsy big box tee isn't just what people see, it's what you feel when you walk into the room. One makes you stand taller, the other makes you shrink. I learned this lesson the hard way. I once wore a paper-thin white polo to a major networking event. I looked like I was about to wash someone's car, not close a deal. That's when I understood. The right fabric doesn't just hold its shape, it holds your confidence in place. Here's what the sharp guys know. Fabric quality is everything. Peak cotton is your gold standard. It has structure, maintains its shape throughout long days, and has this subtle texture that photographs well in professional settings. When you're in back-to-back meetings from 9 to 5, you want fabric that still looks crisp when you're walking to your car. Merino wool blends are game changers for cooler months. They regulate temperature, resist wrinkles, and have this natural sophistication that pure cotton sometimes lacks. Performance fabrics can work, but choose wisely. You want moisture wicking without looking like you're about to coach Little League. Now, color. This is simpler than most guys make it, but the impact is huge. Navy works everywhere. Boardrooms, client dinners, industry conferences. It's authoritative without being aggressive, classic without being boring. Charcoal gray is your modern alternative to navy. It pairs brilliantly with both jeans and dress pants, and it's particularly sharp if you have gray in your hair. White is powerful, but only in substantial fabric. Cheap white polos cling and wrinkle like paper napkins. Quality white polos hold their shape like a crisp Oxford shirt. They look intentional and confident. Colors like forest green, burgundy, or cream can add personality without looking like you're having a midlife crisis. The key is choosing shades that enhance your skin tone while working with your existing wardrobe. Skip anything neon, overly athletic, or with logos bigger than your thumb. Here's the truth. The wrong fabric makes your $80 polo look like a $12 gym tee. The right fabric looks like quiet wealth. Now that you've got the shirt itself right, the real test is what you pair it with, because even the best polo can collapse if the styling isn't intentional. Make the polo work for you. Think about where the polo sits in men's style history. It's always been the bridge between casual and refined. Aristocrats wore it when suits were too formal, but t-shirts were too sloppy. That middle ground is its superpower, but only if you style it with intention. Otherwise, it collapses into weekend wear. But here's where most guys completely drop the ball, and it's costing them respect they don't even know they're losing. They nail the fabric and color, then destroy everything with poor styling choices. For client-facing roles or important meetings, navy polo, dark wash jeans, brown leather loafers. This combination hits the sweet spot between approachable and authoritative. The dark jeans provide structure, the leather shoes add sophistication, and the navy polo bridges formal and casual perfectly. For creative industries or modern offices, charcoal polo, well-tailored chinos, clean leather sneakers. This says you're current and confident without trying too hard to be trendy. Warm weather professional events. White polo, tailored shorts that hit just above the knee, leather boat shoes or quality sneakers. The key is proportion and quality. Everything should look intentional, not thrown together. When you need to elevate for presentations or client entertainment, polo with an unstructured blazer, dress pants, leather dress shoes. The polo keeps you approachable while the blazer adds authority. This works beautifully for business dinners or industry events, for networking or casual business settings. Polo with a lightweight cardigan, dark jeans, leather brogues. This gives you texture, sophistication, and flexibility as the evening progresses. Here's the principle behind all these combinations. You're balancing different levels of formality. The polo serves as your foundation. It's versatile enough to work up or down depending on your accessories and bottom half. One crucial point, context always matters. The combination that works for a Saturday client golf game isn't right for a Monday morning presentation. Think about your environment and adjust accordingly. The goal is to look like you made thoughtful choices, not like you grabbed whatever was available. Now, here's the part that might sting a little, but stick with me because recognizing these mistakes could be the difference between getting that promotion or watching someone else get it. I've watched thousands of successful men over the years, and small mistakes have huge consequences. That's when I realized every detail matters, especially the ones you think don't. Logo overload is mistake number one. I see partners at major consulting firms wearing polos with logos so big they look like NASCAR drivers. When the branding dominates the shirt, you look less sophisticated, not more successful. Subtle or no branding almost always looks better. The accessory mismatch problem trips up even smart guys. You'll nail the polo, then pair it with a chunky sports watch, worn baseball cap, and beat-up sneakers. Each piece sends a different message, and together they create confusion about who you are professionally. The tucking dilemma. This one's tricky. Some guys always tuck, making casual settings look stiff. Others never tuck, missing opportunities to look more polished. Simple guideline, tuck with dress pants or chinos when the situation calls for polish. Leave untucked with jeans, but only if the length is right. But wait, before you think you've got this figured out, there's one mistake that'll kill all your progress. Footwear. White athletic socks with leather shoes, running shoes with business casual, or flip-flops anywhere but the beach. These choices destroy your credibility instantly. Color coordination matters more than you might think. Your belt should complement your shoes. Your socks shouldn't be the first thing people notice. These aren't rigid rules, but guidelines that help create cohesive, intentional looks. But here's the biggest mistake: not considering the total impression. You might have each piece figured out individually, but if they don't work together to support the image you want to project, you're working against yourself. Your polo might cost $100, but pair it with beat-up sneakers, and you're right back at that backyard BBQ vibe. No matter how much you spend on the shirt, every mistake here is subtle. And that's the danger. It's death by 1,000 unfashionable cuts. Go look at your last meeting photo. Does your outfit say intentional or I got dressed in the dark? Remember, in professional settings, people size you up in seconds. Every choice either reinforces that you're someone who pays attention to details or suggests that you don't. And in business, details are everything. 3 months after applying exactly what we've covered today, James calls me up. "I just closed the biggest project of my career," he said. Same expertise, same track record, but now when he walks into a room, people lean in instead of checking their phones. That's the real point. This isn't about clothes for the sake of clothes. It's about removing the barriers between you and the respect you've already earned. When you stop second-guessing whether you look the part, you free up energy to do what actually matters. Crush the conversation, close the deal, connect with people who matter. The men who master these 3 basics, fit, fabric, styling, walk into every room already ahead. They look like they belong there, and so do you. You've earned your place. Now dress like it. Tomorrow morning, check your polo in the mirror. Does it pass the shoulder test? If not, you know exactly what to fix. And now I want to hear from you. Was there a moment when you realized your favorite polo wasn't working anymore? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. And if this gave you value, hit that like button and subscribe. More tips like this are coming, and you won't want to miss them.